challenging to do this at the kind of speed that we need to. So what I'll do next is I am gonna present today digital transformation Amazon. So I've been a lead at Amazon building businesses within Prime Video and Twitch, as well as AWS. So I've been working towards transforming the business and to make sure that we are building innovative products and have frameworks and processes on how to do that. So that's kind of like what we're going to cover today. So let me just share my screen. It's probably easier to desk. Share. All right. Do you all see my screen?
Not yet.
To be working. Share screen. All right, here you go. Do you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So present. All right, so this is the presentation of Amazon. A little bit of background about me before we get started. So my name is Chantal Cox, please call me Chantal. I'm a principal product manager at Amazon since 2018, I believe. Yeah, for like a year and a half, a little bit more. So before that, I was leading products at Adobe. For example, I was leading Photoshop, which is our flagship product. At eBay, Microsoft, and Credit Karma, who just got acquired by Intuit. My education is a little bit different than what you would expect, maybe in Silicon Valley. It's not a very traditional. Before starting and studying engineering, I did architecture. So I studied architecture in France, in Paris, and then I did a double engineering in Spain and got a transfer to UC Berkeley, and I got a master in computer science, specialized in machine learning and artificial intelligence. I've started two startups. One failed, and then the other one is still alive. It's not doing awesome, but it's not doing bad. So we still are running it, and we have 15 employees. We're having six digits revenue yearly, and so it is a pretty low income business, but it is fun, and I always like to do side projects. Right, so today we're here to talk about digital transformation at Amazon. And before we discuss what digital transformation really is at Amazon and how it impacts, we're gonna first talk about one of the most important things at Amazon, which is how is Amazon different from all these other companies? Why is Amazon so powerful? Why is Jeff Bezos so rich, right? So the first thing I wanna mention is, did you know that Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos banned the use of PowerPoints? This is one of the only PowerPoints that I've done this year. We don't do PowerPoints at Amazon, and this is one of the biggest differences. So out of all the companies that I worked at, Amazon is the most different. And let's just explore why. So Amazon has something we call kind of a Bible within Amazon. It is literally like a religion, I would say. And it is the 14 principles that we use at the company to guide our decisions and how we structure our thinking. People at Amazon are rewarded for exemplifying these principles. And everybody at Amazon knows these principles for the top of their head. Like everybody in a meeting would call out, hey, you're exemplifying this, that's great. Or you're not exemplifying that, performance evaluation issue, right? So it is something that it is really ingrained into the culture. And I think it is extremely beneficial to share with you guys today because it has helped me become a better leader. Because as Jeff Bezos said himself, those are principles that have been like in the works and evaluated and considered and changed over the years by thousands of people thinking about it. And so those are the best ones. And there's not a 15 one, there's not a 16 one, there's not 13. So let's dive into those. Let's see what really it is. So the first one is the customer obsession. So something we talk a lot about at Amazon is the working backwards. So what we mean by working backwards is not thinking about, let's just do a business, there's a business opportunity, right? There is a new market we could explore. This is a $1 trillion opportunity. We can get 2% of the market, something like that. we never think like that. We would think about customers. What do customers want? We talk to those customers, right? So it's always goes back to the customer problems and not the business problems. Although we always take in consideration those when we decide to go for an opportunity. The second one is ownership. So we own businesses. We are as many CEOs within the company, the product leaders. We decide everything in our businesses. There's no such behavior ever as this is not my job. So the same way you see sometimes business owners clean their own desks or do some HR or do anything that needs to be done in their startup, it is the same at Amazon, right? So if I need to code to get a couple of things finished, or I need to query something and write up my own queries, I do that. And there is literally no shame, and people look up to you for doing that. And it is well looked at. The third one is invent and simplify. So it is something that is very important for the company to invent and always find things to simplify. So we can always create things that are complex, right? And make them even more complex. The problem is that Amazon, because of the scale and the complexity of the business itself, small features like launching maybe a new chain, for example, on the homepage of Amazon.com, it takes a lot of teams and coordination. So something very simple is very complicated. So if you do not have this mindset of always simplifying things, always thinking, can I simplify this? Every time you have a problem, every time you have a solution, right? You can't really, you're not exemplifying the values. This is a surprising one for me when I joined, because I thought it was a funny one, but the more you climb the ladder, people really care about levels at Amazon. And so there are levels all the way from L3 to L10, and L11 is Jeff Bezos himself. So there's nothing above, and there's no L9, because that's kind of like a forbidden kind of number, the company, which is funny. And so leaders only stay in their roles or climb the ladder if they're right. So being right means that you have good instincts, that you make strong judgment, that you really look at all this data, trends, and really walk backwards. So if you don't make good decisions, you don't stay at Amazon. So people have been 10 years at the company. You can imagine how much impact they've done into the company. The next one is learn and be curious. I think this one is pretty straightforward for everybody, but it really is pushed at Amazon in the sense of they want us to go beyond our expertise, beyond our role. There's no such thing as wanting to stay in a siloed component on your org and just doing that job. They want you to go above and beyond and think about collaborations and other businesses within Amazon. The next one is always the hardest, I think: hire and develop the best. We're blessed, I think, in Silicon Valley to have incredible talent. So, and Amazon is a very attractive company. That said, it is hard to retain that talent because of the very intense culture that we have. So I think that it is even harder because we have this performance bar, which is some folks at Amazon are considered bar raisers. So that means that they are exemplify all these values so well that they raise the bar of the team. So making it harder to hire because the person that needs to be brought into the company needs to match that bar raiser. So it is extremely hard to get into the company as more bar raisers exist. The next one I think is pretty straightforward for big businesses, and especially innovative businesses, which is think big. But that is really what, when we build features or businesses, we need to think about flywheels. We need to think about systems, about how do we reuse this data? How do we pick that data and reuse in the future? How do we use this for another business? How do you reuse, right? There's a lot of recycling and a lot of like thinking big in the culture. This one you probably heard of, the next one, which is bias for action, which means speed matters. So Amazon is a very, very fast-paced company, which makes it really fun, but also makes you make decisions fast. And sometimes it's hard to do that well and be right a lot, like we saw on the other slide. So it is, you need to be extremely strategic about how you operate and really have some luck too, I would say. The next one is frugality. This is a very, I would say, rare quality in a company, in a tech company with so much money. But the reality is that at Amazon, the only thing that's free is black coffee. Like everything else you need to buy at the company. They don't have free lunches. They don't provide extra perks. They don't do that compared to other companies in Silicon Valley like Google or Facebook. That is because they want us to think really as business owners, as like that entrepreneur that starts their business in their garage. So they want you to really feel like you're really starting this like it's your own business and really not just splurge. Then some of the three last ones are dive deep. Dive deep, which means we want our leaders to really dig into the entire depth of a project. So if you are building machine learning, you need to be able to talk about supervised learning, the technologies, the marketplace, what's happening in the world with machine learning, your competitors, and even go as in detail as possible as some of the bugs, the situation that can happen when you deploy a model. So I think that it is something rare because a lot of times in all the companies you see leaders just stay in the surface and make decisions based on specific points, but not being able to talk about exactly the products that they have in detail. And at Amazon, we are encouraged to do that. It takes work, but it is really rewarding. And it feels really good to know everything about what you're doing. So it is really, really nice. Another of the values is earn trust. So this one is actually, I would say, one of the hardest to do because trust is not given. It's not a given at Amazon. So when you start a company, people don't think that you're going to do a good job or that you're going to succeed there. You have to prove them that you're worth staying there. So getting the job is not the hardest part. It is to stay at the job. And so I think that is something that is very different. It's not a very welcoming culture right away. It takes 6 months maybe to just build those relationships, that trust, because you deliver, because you're right? Which is the last one, which is deliver results, right? So leaders focus on key inputs for the business and they deliver results. If you don't deliver results, you don't stay at Amazon. I think there are 2 more. Sorry about that. So there's 2 more because there are 14. So it's a very long list. I apologize about that. But I think it's really interesting to go through all of them. Have backbone, disagree and commit. I think this is also something surprised me a lot when I joined this company, which is usually when you are disagreeing with somebody, you just discuss and then one of the 2 wins. And you're like, well, okay, I understand what you mean. Let's go for that. At Amazon, it's common to be in meetings where 2 people are really strongly opinionated and they completely disagree with contradicting data sometimes or interests, but they still shake hands and they said, I disagree with you, but I'm committed to this initiative. And so it is pretty interesting to see at first because it's hard to believe that a person will be committed, but it is actually true. People leave aside all the emotions and are able to say, let's execute on it now. And then finally, the last one is insist on the highest standard. So as you can imagine, with all this trust, being right, having backbone, being fast, being really, really good at your job, knowledgeable, this is really insisting on the highest standards. So they want leaders to continuously drive their teams to build higher, better team with a lot of bar raisers, high quality products, diversity, new processes, new services, always be at the forefront of technology. So it is really interesting. I think this job, it is what I think to me it is more of an MBA because you get to really dig into things and have time to learn and you feel like you're progressing in your career. Well, that sounds like a lot, isn't it? But guess what? It works. As you know, Amazon is doing, if you looked at the stock lately, it's doing pretty well. It is now $1 trillion company and it has, started in a garage or, like at his house. And now it is one of the, if not the biggest company in the world. And obviously this is not the end. This is just the very beginning. So as you can, I thought this quote was really interesting because it really shows you that, for example, 92% of its value is due to profits expected this year only. So this company is just every year not growing 10%, 20%. It's just like the entire business is almost like doubling, every year. So it is really, really interesting to see the pace. And at the pace we all go at Amazon, and the impact that we're having. But how do we then get there, right? So one of the bigger questions I had when I joined Amazon is like, how does this company achieve this? Like, okay, all these great values, all these great people, but what do you do? I only knew about Amazon.com and Amazon Prime a little bit when I joined. But when you look at their business, so this is their, for example, quarterly, net revenue in Q2 2018 and Q2 2019, so you can compare. And so here you can see that the online stores are growing, third-party services are growing, Amazon Web Services is growing, subscription services is growing. So there are literally every single business of Amazon is growing, which is very rare for a business to be able to do that. But it is also very hard to keep up with the competitors. Let's not lie. This is one of the things that fascinated me the most about Amazon is like, it's not like they're thriving at these businesses because they're all alone or they have a competitive advantage in a specific area. It's like they are the best and the leaders in all these areas. So for example, Amazon is competing with Alibaba, Rakuten, eBay, right? We all know these companies. But it's also Amazon Fresh is competing with the top like Tesco or Sainsbury. Amazon Prime is competing against Netflix and Hulu, right? Amazon Alexa with Google and Apple. FedEx, a fulfillment by Amazon, FDA, is competing with FedEx, which is like the biggest distribution company with UPS and USPS in the US. Amazon Payments with the bigger payment company, and Amazon Web Services with Microsoft, IBM. Advertising was also one of the top advertising companies, which is Google. So it is incredible to see that in all these arenas we're thriving, but we're also competing with the best. So it is extremely competitive. So in 2017, Jeff told the company that he had 3 pillars, that the company was based on 3 big initiatives, and it was looking for a 4th one. So he said, at that time, he said, the 3 pillars are marketplace, so Amazon.com, Prime, and Amazon Web Services. And he says, maybe I'll get a 4th one. And he said, I have a bunch of candidates. So these ones are the 3 ones that now Amazon has 7 more, and they're still growing, while also growing the other 3. So those are all the businesses that Amazon is trying to be the first at. So it is pretty incredible to think that, most businesses try to focalize on something and do it well, but actually Amazon is trying to focalize in a lot of different businesses and doing really well to be the best. So it is really rare to see that model. So some of the companies that are initiatives, that are added, we also call companies, are Amazon Kindle. You're familiar with the kind of iPad that they have with the books, right? Amazon Studio, so there's like Netflix, Audible, which is all these audiobooks, robotics, where we are building all these robots with all the AI intelligence forefront of robotics, Alexa, which is this voice recognition and the ability to talk to a robot and get instructions and get responses back. And then obviously Whole Foods, which they purchased last year. So if you look at all of that, you're probably asking yourself, like, how did you just get there, right? So some of the 5 strategic choices that Amazon took to be able to get there were the following. The first one was to expand their marketplace. So they wanted to make sure that some of the markets that were not the first, they were able to get into that market. So they had a different strategy, like prioritizing India, but also focusing on their top markets as well. So really this big expansion of marketplaces. The second one was to develop key platforms. So in order to develop the marketplace and all these other platforms, you need to develop also, for example, Alexa. So if you think about it, Alexa it has the ability to order for you recurring, let's say, baby food or diapers or things like that. So that develops, like feeds back into the Amazon marketplace. So by doing things like Alexa or even payments, like one-click payment, you're enabling that other business to really go at its full speed and full potential. The third one is improving the customer experience. As we said, it is super important at Amazon to focus on the customer. That is our topest priority. We talk about customers at every single meeting. There's actually an empty chair in most meeting rooms when we're physically at the office as it represented the customer. We always leave a chair in the room for the customer. So to improve that customer experience, we invest in content, in technology, in process efficiencies. So we want to make sure that it is as easy for the customer to do those steps. The fourth one is reinvest efficiency. So they want to leverage their scale to reduce the variable costs. So anything that is variable cost, they're trying to reinvest it. Fifth, develop innovation culture. So again, this is extremely important for Amazon. Leaders are rewarded because of innovation and because of what they're learning, and what they're sharing and how they're impacting the company. So that is ingrained in the culture. And when it is ingrained in the culture and everybody's doing this, then that's how it becomes. You have all these other businesses that are growing. So let's just first dive a little bit into the Amazon marketplace. So it started with this, right? You probably remember the early ages of Amazon. It said we're going to have all the items. We're going to have the cheapest pricing. We're going to have the product reviews, like eBay also started at a time. We're going to personalize those results for you. You're going to have free delivery, free returns, completely innovative. The one button purchase patent that they have, where you can actually purchase something one click. The Prime membership, which gets you those free deliveries and returns, but also in a very timely manner. And finally, all this range of products, right? So that was really the beginning and really the innovation at the beginning of the marketplace that we all take for granted now, but it was not earlier. And so if we look at the way that marketplace operated, it was not just, hey, I'm building this website with these features, right? Amazon functions with flywheels. So every single product needs to be a machine to make more money. Like by inputting certain things into the flywheel, that thing just goes by itself. So let's look at the Amazon marketplace flywheel. So as we said, we're going to have a selection of items, and it's going to be convenient for you to purchase those items. And that makes it a very nice customer experience, right? That's the second step. That creates more traffic. So people are like, wow, this is a great place for me to buy things, which brings more sellers into the platform. As you know, Amazon only sells a small portion of items. It's mostly other sellers. And that creates more selection, obviously, because sellers bring their own products, and makes it even more convenient for those customers. And that creates growth. And that growth enables Amazon to lower the cost structure, which at the end, lower prices because everything is cheaper for them, which also feeds into the customer experience because people want cheaper stuff. And obviously that, if you plug in the Prime membership, which is the Amazon Prime 2-day shipping with other services like Alexa, video, fast delivery, that even expedites or makes the wheel even more powerful. So this is an example of how we work at Amazon, how we think about products. It is not a linear, it's not like this is going to happen and this is the outcome. It's always in a flywheel manner. So what is digital? Is that digital transformation, right? So it is funny how digital transformation is not necessarily a term that we use as much at Amazon because it's so ingrained already in the culture since, and it would go so fast that the digital transformation just happens while we build. But for example, digital enables limitless inventory, right? So that's kind of like the diversification strategy that Amazon took to have, for example, 900 million products on sale on its platform in 10 plus segments by November last year. The other one is digital boosts customer care, right? So this retention strategy, Amazon is the #1 customer satisfaction platform. I don't know if you ever had a return or a problem at Amazon and trying to reach customer service. They call you back in one minute. If you try to go on chat, you immediately talk to somebody. You connected in less than 1 minute. So it is pretty exceptional. And finally, digital allows high margins, lower prices. So as we know, AWS, putting everything in the cloud, using all this data. It's not, you're not producing a huge amount of low margin stuff. It is pretty high margin because you can actually have tons of data available to you. It's not something physical that you need to store and pay for that fixed cost. So also, if you look at how Amazon has grown over the years, you can see that the fulfillment centers, so the places where they store, are very strategically placed. The way they decided to do that is also related probably to taxes, but also how close they need to be from those hubs of purchase, and considering the timeline of delivery with their other companies who are providing those items. So it is actually really interesting to see here in the chart. If you see 2010 to 2017, the US population living within 20 miles of a fulfillment center has grown. I don't have the latest data here. I don't know if it's confidential, but I couldn't find it. But beyond, I believe that we're close to like 80%. So it is incredible, the amount of warehouses and how fast they can get items to people in the United States. This is obviously not the situation everywhere, but as we said, Amazon is expanding in other markets where they're not the fulfillment is not as effective. So if we look here at the Amazon sales mix, like what is it sold by Amazon? So sometimes you could think about, why isn't Amazon, selling more items, or what are the categories where they are selling? So here you can see that Amazon is kind of distributed in three parts. One is they're sold and fulfilled by Amazon. The other one is sold by third party, like another seller, but it is fulfilled by Amazon's warehouses. So they charge the seller a specific fee per item to store and ship, and then sold and fulfilled by third party. So the seller itself does the entire process. And so it's very interesting to see that the sold by third party and fulfilled by Amazon is growing. So that is not represented in this chart, but I want to emphasize that the more Amazon is growing and the lower the cost, like what they're charging sellers for that fulfillment because of all the infrastructure they're building, the more they're gaining territory. So if you saw this picture, this is 2017. If we saw this picture in 2020, we would see basically like everything kind of, most of it orange in most of the categories. So because of the lack of infrastructure built by those sellers, and it costs them more to actually do it themselves. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, what happened here? Oh, I'm so sorry. Somebody called me on my phone. I apologize about that. Oh my God. Apologize about that. Okay. Let me make sure this is not connected. All right. Apologies about that. So this is the US Amazon gross sales. So you can see here that as well, it's growing. Basically, the third-party sales is growing, and it is actually pretty interesting still how much first-party sales are kind of growing as well. So it is definitely a market that is not growing on third-party, but also on first-party. So when we talk about personalization, Amazon is not only personalizing a little bit, right? Amazon is bringing personalization to a different level. Right now, you're able to have complete different experiences if you log with your account, your wife's or husband's account. It is interesting to see how they follow you through different platforms, all the data they collect about you, and how much they know about you. And so if you do the test, and I would encourage you guys to do it tonight, you will see if you connect with different accounts with your husband and wife, you will see how interesting it is and what are the differences. It is pretty interesting. And now, so what is Amazon doing besides this personalization to even crank it up a notch? So they're doing all this technology around voice recognition. So they're, for example, devices you have home like Echo, Alexa devices, all of the things are basically gathering data for Amazon to be able to be better. So if you say to Amazon, hey, order me kind of like I don't know, like some sort of product for cleaning or something like that, then you can send an email the next day or so about a specific button that you can buy, that you can just kind of plug into or put them on your countertop or on the fridge, that just allows you to order that specific item that you seem to order a lot by just pressing it. So you don't even need to talk to Alexa or remind her or whatever. So it is fascinating how they're using all this to bring personalization to a different level. And of course, all the data is being gathered across platforms. So if you use the TV, Fire TV, Fire tablets, or Kindle tablets, all the things that you're reading, all the things that you're watching, everything is being input into the Amazon marketplace. So it's not just one flywheel per business, but all the businesses are having flywheels all together. So this is something that's pretty controversial right now in the US. So I'm not going to cover it very much, but it is the antitrust issue that we're now is happening in the US, because Amazon has access to so much data about customers and about what products work, what products are being ordered, what products do they care about pricing, and which ones they care about quality. They have so much data and so many insights into this data that it allows them to decide to, for example, build their own private label for categories or products that they know that they can actually beat to the competitors. So one of them is, for example, diapers. 50% of diapers sold on Amazon are private labeled. So because they know exactly how much they cost, the distribution, the times, and so they know they have a competitive advantage. And so they are maximizing that advantage, which makes them so powerful that other brands feel like they are a disadvantage. And so that's why it becomes a problem for Amazon, especially because not only they're doing that, but they're also doing that for all categories. So you can think about technology, batteries, diapers, fashion, right? So everything is they're going for everything. And so if you think about what else are they doing, to do innovation in this era of personalization and marketplace, we see things like Amazon Cash, like businesses like in other places where they don't have probably a credit card, then they use basically cash to shop at Amazon. They're enabling any type of customers, so in Mexico or in different markets where they don't have credit cards or bank accounts even, to use Amazon. So it is really about lowering the barrier to entry to Amazon to as many customers worldwide. And the same, which is to be able to pay on Amazon with one click. And so it is basically one of the things that Amazon has invested in that has really had an incredible ROI, because people don't like to go through the flow of entering their information all the time. And we already have that data of the customers. So we're making it smarter, simpler, and every time easier, more easy and easy for customers to be able to go through this flow. And talking about making it a better customer experience, one of the things that we care the most about is this Amazon.com purchasing Whole Foods in the US, which is one of the biggest companies, food companies that we have, like Tesco in the UK. And how do we make it even easier for customer? How do we bring it to another level? So there's Amazon Pickup. So we pick up the groceries and put it in the back of your car. Now with coronavirus existing, there is an entryway like you would get a McDonald's drive-through here in the US. So making literally this experience, this shopping experience, an incredible experience for customers. Even now, when you are going to discover products on Amazon, even if you discover not through search, but you discover through pictures, like you would see on Instagram or other platforms, we are enabling basically facial recognition or visual recognition, image recognition. So any items that you see that you would like to purchase, you can just tap on it, and we're able to find what it is that you're trying to purchase. So it is incredible how they're taking this to another level of not only asking for the customer to search from an item or even to know what they want, but to present them with things in a different format that they will like. This is something that you can imagine is similar to WeChat in China. So there's a lot of text in the slide, so probably I don't expect you to read it, but it's they're also getting into that territory. Nothing scares Amazon, and every time they see an opportunity to get into a new vertical, they will try and be the best. And so this is the experience called Anytime by Amazon, which is across platforms, and be able to basically use it as a platform for social media, but also chat and have your friends there, free, fast, and secure. So it is basically an attempt to beat WeChat, which is one of the most powerful companies right now in terms of messaging. And Amazon Books. How do they do that next step, right? Everything started with bookstores, as you know, with Amazon, but how do they bring it to another level? So now if you go to a store of Amazon.com, it's not only about books. It's a very specific curated selection. Books have specific descriptions of why they're some of the reviews of the customers. If you go and talk to the guy you see here at the front desk and tell them about and log in with your account, they'll be able to show you exactly in what areas of the store you should be looking at. So it is really interesting how this personalization is brought not only onto the website, but outside of the website on a real brick and mortar experience. So again, here, this Amazon Whole Foods, how they're making even like now the online experience better, because that was a brick and mortar who needed to be digitalized. So how do we bring in all this Amazon knowledge, Amazon.com platform knowledge into this physical store? So for example, what items you're picking from the shelf, they'll be able to recommend to you and send you an email, and it'll make it easier for you to buy it on their website. So now you can buy on Amazon.com items that are from Whole Foods. You don't need to go to Whole Foods website. So it is extremely easy, to the point where they decided that because they were implementing it on some experiments with some Whole Foods stores, they would also build their own stores called Amazon Go. So I don't know if some of you have ever tried to go into the stores. We have some in San Francisco here. And it is basically an incredible experience where you just get into a store. There's literally no staff whatsoever. You just have your phone, log in with your QR, go in, and just pick things up from the shelf and leave. And automatically you're charged exactly for the right amount. So it is a fascinating experience and extremely fast, actually. So that's kind of what it looks like. It looks really like a store. And that's kind of like what you get when you go in. You put your phone, you just log in and just pass. It is extremely fast. And that's kind of the QR code I was talking to you about. So that's kind of like the experience that we were talking about, how incredible the marketplace has evolved into brick and mortar, back and forth, and how within the marketplace itself, Amazon.com has really evolved its personalization to another level. There's the second one, we were talking about the second big vertical that we're investing is Amazon Prime. So Amazon Prime is visibility, and everything started with, hey, you're gonna deliver, you're gonna get your package in 2 days, 3 days, you're gonna get it in a very standardized way. You know it's going to be Amazon. It's well packaged. It's delivered to your door. Very practical. But now it's not only Prime. Prime has also evolved. It's not anymore that service. Prime has evolved into new verticals. So Prime is what it started with, and now you have Prime Video and Prime Music. So Prime Music allows you to stream, to shop some songs, and Prime Video allows you to read. So any content that you see on the Kindle, it's part of Amazon Video, but also all the content that you know on Prime Video. If you've ever watched a content with Amazon Prime Video, that's all the other verticals that they're expanding. So for the Prime membership right now, it's not only you're paying $14 here in the US a month for that 2-day service, 2-day delivery. That is not what they want for the customer, because again, they're customer obsessed. They want to make sure the customer, we're solving for everything the customer would want to have in that membership. We're trying to bring as many perks, which makes it even more really competitive, like, because it's very hard to beat that. So as we said, they're, you know, one of the companies that Amazon purchased Twitch Prime. So they make it, they right now provide also benefits for specific gamers, specific books that are purchased. So it is not only that, it is evolving into, I mean, right now the list, this is probably 2019. So I believe there's still even more categories, but even like all your pictures together. So they're trying to beat Google Photos. So it is really expanding at a pace that is hard to keep up with. So competitors are having a hard time keeping up for sure. So for example, with Prime Air, right? We talk about delivery. They're bringing that category even to the next level with Prime Air. So nowhere else in the world you hear about expanding into drone delivery. So it is something that it is incredible to be in this company, because any new transportation methodology, it will be explored at Amazon. So you have literally packages that are being delivered with drones in areas where it's hard to deliver. And they're even thinking about building new concepts. This is just a concept, obviously, airplane, kind of airplane drone, but they're trying to think about how they can really build their own aircrafts, which is a huge investment, but just to bring this innovation in, because it is really what Amazon is about. So you can see now that the members, obviously, of Prime has been growing, because, as I said, the value that you get for your buck as a customer is invaluable. So you get, for $14 a month, you have all these perks. There are really perks that you want. It's not like one of the things that you get stuff and you don't want it. And so if you look at the revenue per customer, for a non-member before it was $700, for a Prime member, 1,300, but and that's not up to date data, obviously, because I think it's part of it is confidential. So that's probably 2018, but we are close to our ambition of $10,000. So if you think about a value per LTV, lifetime value for a customer, to be $10,000 is pretty insane for a business that has, millions and millions of customers. So you think about all these verticals now, they're, even with Prime, right? We said they're going into the air. We're going with aircraft, they're going with drones, but they're also going with Prime Now, which means people in big cities want things now, right? So if you order something that you don't want in 2 days anymore, you want it now. So Amazon has even built the infrastructure, the possibility of you ordering something and getting it in the next hour. So it is something I've actually tried, and it works in San Francisco, and it is pretty incredible. Like, if you don't have toothpaste and it's like 7 p.m. and you just want to brush your teeth, it just arrive at 8 and you don't have to go anywhere. So it is fascinating to see that work. And I can't wait to see how that works in other territories as well. So, for example, you can see that it is actually getting implemented right now with Amazon and Amazon and Morrison's in the UK. So they're starting to implement those things. So hopefully you will be able to see those in your locale and sometime soon. Maybe not drones, because that's still not FDA approved, but it is fascinating. And I think that there is a point where innovation hits a wall of ethics, and I think that Amazon constantly hits that wall. So one of the examples here is the unlocking your door to get to your own house to drop off the packages, right? So I think that there's a place where customers is what they want, but ethically, or they're not comfortable with it. So it is really interesting to see how, because we're pushing the boundaries so much, it becomes uncomfortable for people to even sign up for some services. So some services are so ahead of their time. Like, for example, this one, right? The doors are not ready. Most of the doors are not ready to be unlocked by a QR code outside, right? They're all doors. So it is funny how we're trying to sometimes push the boundaries a little too fast. Then also there are other verticals, as we said, that they're growing, right? We said there are 3 pillars, but within these 3 pillars, there are other pillars, for example, that are, again, playing to this flywheel. So if you think about Amazon Music or Amazon Prime, you have all these books and you have all these tablets and things like that. We have to build our own content, right? So Amazon Prime Video, we always use third-party content. And now we're bringing in a new content. So Amazon is producing their own content. So they depend on as little as possible as an external content provider. So they have control. And so you can see now, on Amazon, it's not like shows that are, that you don't want to watch. It is, Amazon is partnering with the NFL, which is American football. You have literally shows that you would want to watch, and it's incredible. It's just not one of those perks that you think, oh well, I'm not going to use it because it's crappy content. This is really, 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 really top content. So really competitive. If you look at the competitive landscape right now, it's a lot higher, as you can imagine, but that data I cannot share. But 2017, you can already see the trend, right? Amazon Studios, who just started, is competing against the biggest beast in the market, which is Netflix. So, and obviously beating NBC, ABC, which are networks who've been here forever. And so, as we talked about Amazon Alexa, right? That experiment that we talked about, being able to order and having that button delivered to your home so you can order something fast, that became a business because of that opportunity, that experiment that works so well. Now it is a business. It's called Amazon Alexa. So it is used to reorder consumables, but also to gather all this data to basically know more about you and to really plug into that flywheel. So this is kind of like I think we're kind of like close to time, so I want to make sure we're not run too long over. So, but as you can see, Amazon has big plans for Alexa, it's not only that voice, right? It's like, how do we bring it to another level? How do we help communities of disadvantaged blind people? How do you help it run your life, right? Can you order, can you schedule calls? Can you schedule your clock? Can we replace things, right? And so echo adoption is one of those products that we're talking about. It is really at the forefront technology. People are not used to do that at home. But you can see how slowly, because they're developing their skills, people are in their own homes. We see that people are installing it more like they're buying it because they see the usage, right? So once you understand what is it for, and if it's useful to you, then you will also not only develop more skills, but actually use it. And so the usage, as you can see, it's still early stages, at least in 2017 when this data is available, it was tried once. A lot of people try once, but the usage is what's hard because, as I said, it's a new behavior. They're not used to this new, to doing that, right? It's a new, completely different behavior. That said, Amazon Echo, for example, is beating Google Home and the other competitors because, again, of all the data, how they're thinking about the use case, about the customer, what do they think they want, and it's always thinking about partnering as well. So what the things that they cannot provide, they will provide with external third party. So basically APIs with Uber, Sonos, and other providers to make sure that it solves all the customer needs. And so you can see, as we said, Amazon is growing. So in January 2019, 66 million smart speakers in the US. So it is a pretty incredible, considering that is a completely new market that they've been in. And so finally, the bigger one, which is Amazon Web Services, which is one of the two teams that I work in, which is what is AWS? Was it so growing so much and it's so interesting? It's because it offers 70 services of computing, storage, databases, analytics, Internet of Things, enterprise applications. So things that allow any company in the world to expand and grow. And so AWS sales is growing, as you can see on the left. And I think that if you look at the numbers in 2020, it's probably more than double. And so it's because all the features, right? Again, what the customers, what do those enterprise need, and always be in touch with those companies and see what their needs are. And so if you look at the infrastructure comparison, where they stand, Amazon's Web Services is the leaders, right? So if you think about challengers, niche players, visionaries, and leaders, Amazon is in the leaders, with Microsoft, who's been in the market a lot longer, kind of not leading that. So it is really interesting to see the market share and how much AWS has already conquered. So they've really literally taken a big part of the pie. And of course, their new initiatives in regards to AWS, right? So all this data, all this intelligence, all this data you can process, all this machine learning, all this AI you can deploy in the cloud allows you to build things that were not possible before. Like, for example, robots they can deploy at home. All that intelligence, right, of those robots that takes training models and machine learning and intelligence, right? So it is all about being able to use that, but again, for the customer. So it is interesting how Amazon is even going further, and they're thinking about how do they get into healthcare? How do they use all this data who's in the cloud, AWS is storing, to reuse all that hospitals, right? So who knows, one day it would be Amazon pills and Amazon hospitals, right? It would be like maybe everywhere, because they have more information that you know most other companies out there and aggregate, that really gives that user profile a kind of a value that is it's just not seen before. So Irina, I know it's 10. Do we have a couple more minutes, or do we want to stop here?
You can finish up if you'd like.
Okay, fantastic. So are you wondering what else AWS can do? So if we look at cloud computing, and so that can be maybe a little technical for this audience, but why does everybody have its eyes on cloud computing? So cloud computing is basically this on-demand delivery platform of computer power. So basically it grows for all things like storing data, processing data, application, all this data that you have, and it's going to grow with you in your own business. So it is really this infrastructure as a service, or platform as a service, or software as a service. So you basically have different models for cloud computing, and depending on what company or business you're in, one or the other will be more useful. So it really depends of what you're trying to do and at what stage you are in your company. And so you can deploy, obviously, your models that we talked about, either in the cloud, hybrid, or on premises. So you can still keep some of the data in your own databases that you have in physical, in your physical like kind of location. But you can also, so it's not like a full transition. The transformation doesn't happen overnight. Is you can transition to a hybrid cloud and then to the cloud. So it is really flexible, and it can grow with you. And so you think about applications of like how this cloud computing works and who uses it. So you can see, for example, Formula One, you're probably all familiar with it. They use Amazon SageMaker, which is one of the services of the model, one of the three models, to optimize racing. So they allow all the decisions on that they need to make for the racer. Everything is made thanks to Amazon Web Services. So all the race performance statistics, predictions, basically they give fans the exact strategy that the team adopted, the driver adopting. And so if they really are pushing themselves to the limit, and basically share that on TV. So it is really an incredible experience. And you can see that even with golf, if you like golf, like seeing the trajectory of the ball, like all of this technology is powered by AWS. It is impossible to do that without technology. And so if you think about evolving the race, how is Formula One has been completely transformed thanks to Amazon AWS is Formula One can capture key performance data for each car at every single twist and every single turn. They're able to run performance compute workloads in a scalable environment, right? They can just gather all these metrics and be able to share them in real time with the fans. So it is just fascinating how it works. And so the process, of course, was it was not an easy process. It was not something that was done before, especially in Formula One. So it began with a small steps in transformation, optimizing racing with machine learning, some trials. They wanted to make sure that, of course, the technology was saying the right thing, because there's always that doubt because it's so innovative and new, and it's not something they've done before. And then the next step was bringing the fans in, right? Being able to deliver these insights on TV to 500 million fans out there. And finally, building for the future, right? So it is about scale. It's about how do you reuse this data from this race to reuse on other races. So here, basically, yeah, so basically that's why I was talking about. I'm not going to go more in detail because it doesn't seem like your guys are very, very specific technically audience. So basically, as you can see, Amazon is at the forefront of technology in all industries, trying to revolutionize the world we live in. And of course, a lot more is coming this year. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for your participation, and feel free to ask me questions. I still have 10 minutes, so.
Hello, thank you very much for a beautiful presentation. Mm-hmm. It was quite captivating. I am still curious. You said that PowerPoint has been banned in Amazon. Is there a specific reason why this has happened? And why are you using PowerPoint yourself today?
Yeah, so it is a very interesting question. I think I might not have mentioned that. So with Amazon, it is banned because they want us to write down our thoughts. And so we have templates of documents there are specific the specific sections that are broken down by type of document. And so everything we do at Amazon is write 6 pagers, it's always 6. And every time before we start a meeting, we read that doc. So that doc, when we're in physical offices, it's printed it out and everybody has a copy and it's silent for 15 minutes. Everybody reads the document. So it allows people to go deep, right? Because if you think about PowerPoint, the amount of time it takes to just represent things and to make it look nice, it is more about parsing information and making it visually compelling versus thinking about the exact process of thought. So it is a lot harder to write down full 6 pagers and with the exact strategy and responding to all the complicated questions of those docs than just doing a PowerPoint and trying to sell it, right? So PowerPoints are great for selling, but not for Amazon. Amazon never uses pictures in their docs. It's always black and white. and it's always charts and text, and everything is written like in a research paper, like you would see in a PhD.
Powerful.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you very much for this great lecture. I really enjoyed it. I have a question about what is your advice for a startup e-commerce, local e-commerce, to grow up? So this is my first question. What is your main advices? Second, how Amazon support or collaborate with startup e-commerce in different countries?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for your question. So the first one, I would say first, following Amazon 14 principles, think about your customer, right? What kind of customer are you solving for? Who is your core customer? So if you think about the perfect persona, right? If you had to draft that picture with the description of the person who would use that e-commerce in your specific locale, who would that be? Is it a mom who doesn't have time to, if you're selling, for example, like food, right? So is it a mom that has no time to buy food? And so the features or the way you would build the product would have to be tailored to that specific customer and the customer needs, right? So if it is a customer who's looking for premium or an exclusive experience, it's a completely different customer, somebody who's trying to be practical and fast, right, on their purchase, or if someone is looking for pricing. So I think you need to start building a chart about who you're trying to solve, what is the market opportunity, what specific persona or group of people you're trying to target. And so once you have that visualization of like, this is my customer, this is how big the business opportunity, then interview them, talk to the customer. It's most times leaders we're rewarded for our work, but ultimately what we do is listening. Most of our work is listen and write. Listen, process, write. I don't wake up in the morning thinking, oh my God, I'm going to build today this other feature. It doesn't work like that. It is about talking to people of different markets. And so it goes back to the second question that you asked, which is how do we build or how do we partner with other startups? Amazon, most times than not, will try to build their own infrastructure, fulfillment centers, and try to go for a market. And they will look for strategic alliances with the top players for just distribution, right, at first. But then after they're done with the distribution, they will try to compete against it. So with small startups, I think that Amazon has a VC component, and I think that they are definitely hunt for startups that are growing, and they're specifically in markets that they don't have a good presence in. So I would probably look into Amazon venture capital.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
First of all, Chantal, thanks for the class and congratulations on the work you are doing at Amazon. In my opinion, the content was excellent and brought us excellent insights that make us rethink our business models and how we can apply disruptive innovation in our markets. I have a question here. How do you see the new business models based on digital platforms like Amazon and the impact on the traditional business model? What's your opinion about that?
Yeah, I think that the most important part about business models at Amazon is one of the things that we do, and I think is worth mentioning, is when we write these documents and we have the strategies and vision, we always write a blog post or an article, like as if it was in the newspaper 5 years from now, of what would we want the Times Magazine to say about our product, right? So we always think about the future. We always want to feel we're living in the future, and we're building towards that. I think traditional business models work more incremental, which is, well, we have this product, how can we make it better? And then we build a few things in the pipeline. Amazon works backwards. So we look from 5 years from now, and what do we need to do to get there?
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Chantal.
Hi.
Thank you for sharing about Amazon. I am Aditya from Indonesia. I work in an engineering and construction company, which is starting the transformation. What are the initial strategy tips for starting the transformation?
That's a very good question. So I think first off, what I would do is I would look for companies in your space that have already done the transformation, either in your country or in similar countries. And so I would look for someone to model because by digital transformation that changes a lot by industry. So I would try to look either for someone who can guide me, either a coach or a consulting company, or I would look for examples and have discussion with leaders in that specific industry, because something that I learned is that digital transformation is very, very different depending on what you're trying to transform.
Hello, Chantel.
Mm-hmm.
Another question here that I have. We, like I said, we are an educational institution and we offer computing courses, your machine learning, your deep learning, your big data courses, your cloud computing courses. And we are looking at adopting or maybe subscribing to a cloud service where, we will be able to run some computationally intensive, algorithms. Like there are times when you are working on some computer vision algorithms or natural language processing algorithms, and they take so long. So we are at a crossroads to say, should we buy a high performance computer? Should we go cloud? Which cloud do we go for? What kind of advice would you give there?
Yeah, I think this is a question that I hear so many companies ask, and it is a really interesting one. I feel like there might be an opportunity for Amazon to kind of really do a lot more about consulting on this arena. The first step that I probably would do would be to learn more about, make sure you know exactly about your needs and your future needs. So a lot of people reach out to or make decisions based on the current needs, or what they think they're going to need in the very near future. But as you think about your organization, I would probably want to think about what would you need in 5 years, and make sure that whatever choice you make first is not a 0 to 1 change, but a transitional change. So for example, hybrid cloud, something that it's not definitive so you can test it out and see how it works for you. And second, something you can grow with, which Amazon allows you to grow. But if you go for a supercomputer or something like that, it is limited. So especially if you grow, I don't know how much your organization could grow, but it is definitely something to consider. And again, what I would look is for advisors. So if you're not an expert of something, find someone who's an expert at that. So I know that Amazon provides lots of information on their website, and they can point you to support. And there's specific people that will reach out. You just enter the information of your company or business, and they will reach out to you just to explore what your needs are, and kind of like how Amazon can help without selling you necessarily on it, just to let you evaluate that option for you.
Good, thanks.
Right, I'll take one more question and then I have to go because I have a meeting to prep.
How do you see Amazon in 10 years from now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is more of a Jeff Bezos question than my question. That my question. I think it's hard for me, even as a principal PM, to be able to see beyond the organizations that I work with. Amazon is a very secretive company, so as much as they want us to collaborate within businesses, it is extremely hard to know what's happening in other levels of leadership. So it is extremely confidential. There are documents that are written every 6 months about every single team at Amazon writes a 6-pager on the vision of the org, and that all these documents get collected and summarized, and it creates one big doc called OP1 that gets sent to Jeff Bezos, and that doc has all the strategies all together of the company. So every 6 months, every single team at the companies put together with this doc every single company within Amazon summarizes it, makes their own, and send it to Jeff Bezos into one. And so I don't have access to the one that's been sent to Jeff Bezos, but I have the one that we have in our company. And so I have a very local view of the business, both on the Prime Video side and on the Twitch and AWS side. And I think that the future depends a lot on depending on what you're trying to look at, because looking at Amazon as we looked at, there's so many verticals, it's impossible to predict what will be the limit. And I think that Amazon will continuously go into new industries. So I think that as much as I think that they've optimized some of them, there's still a lot of opportunities for growth. So if you think about even marketplace, right, with AR, VR, there are infinite opportunities to bring it to another level. So I think that we have a lot to expect. But of course, for confidentiality as well reasons, I can't disclose anything that we're currently working. So.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for your time. I hope that it was useful. I'm going to leave here my personal email. If you have some questions that I haven't been able to answer, any feedback on the presentation, something I can do better, I would love to hear your thoughts. And feel free to add me as well on LinkedIn. So you can also find me, I think I put it, I don't know if you guys have it, but I'm just writing here, my own LinkedIn account on chat. So you can add me there as well. And I'll for sure help you out if you need some connection, or if I can be of any assistance. So again, thank you so much for having me this morning. I mean, this afternoon probably for you guys. And I hope this was useful, and I welcome any feedback. All right, you guys have a fantastic day.